Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Xochitl. If you are new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with all my makeup videos, reviews, tutorials, and more. Today, I wanted to talk about an affordable drugstore product. This is the Covergirl Trublend Undercover Concealer, and this one just caught my eye. I feel like the packaging and the fact that it was new, of course, and I was like, you know what, let me try some new Covergirl products. I had mentioned this briefly in my last type of like get rid of me tutorial. I was testing it out and I'm ready to talk about it. The price of this concealer is $10.99 at Ulta and Walgreens, so you can probably save $1 or $2 at Walmart or Target, but I picked up mine at Walgreens in store, so you should probably find a display there. The shade that I picked up was Perfect Beige, and they have about 30 shades, which I think is totally awesome. For me, the shade Perfect Beige is probably like my perfect beige, just a hint lighter than like the foundation I'm wearing right now, as you will see. So if I wanted to brighten a little bit more, I can totally go another shade down. It was honestly kind of hard to choose the way it was kind of set up. So they have like M, L, and then I don't know if it was like a D or something. I don't know if it's supposed to be like light, medium, or deep to kind of help you decipher, but it was like mine is M900 Perfect Beige, and I was really like having a hard time struggling which shade to get, but I think this one was a good, especially if I do get a little bit tanner. But in general, I'd rather go something closer, I guess, to my skin tone, especially if I really want to conceal those dark circles, because I was like, I don't want to go totally light and then it kind of defeats the purpose of covering dark circles, which I do have, which I've done in the past type of video. So I really wanted to see, okay, if this is close to my skin tone, will it conceal those dark circles? The actual concealer reminds me so much, I feel like a lot of drugstore brands are doing this. This reminds me so much of like that Tarte Shape Tape Dough Applicator, very similar to what the L'Oreal Infallible Full Coverage Concealer is doing, and then the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. I feel like those concealers are definitely around like trying to do the same thing as like Tarte Shape Tape, very comparable. So I definitely wanted to kind of talk about those a little bit and how these compare, because I know I'm going to get questions. I know a lot of people sometimes ask me like, there's so many concealers out there, I love them, especially like they're like, whoa, how do you feel about like the e.l.f. Camo Concealer or the Milani Conceal and Perfect and maybe the L'Oreal? Which one, you know, would you kind of recommend? So I'll kind of touch base on how this kind of compares to those. But this is supposed to be a full coverage concealer. It's supposed to give you a velvety matte finish at the end, and it's supposed to blend out easily upon applying this concealer underneath my eyes. I love the formula. I love the doe foot applicator. They kind of talk about like how soft, cushiony it is. Totally agree. It's not like a hard or scratchy doe foot applicator. I think it picks a product really well. So honestly, I feel like usually what I do with like these full coverage concealers, and you know, like I said, the ones that look very much like the Tarte Shape Tape, I usually honestly really only need one dip to go underneath my eyes, down the bridge of my nose, and all that shebang. When blending out this concealer, I agree that it's so easy. It's very smooth. It's not super thick. So if you guys have that L'Oreal Infallible, or you're comparing L'Oreal Infallible, the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer, and this one, I would say this one just does not feel as thick as those, and like the Tarte Shape Tape, like the formula wise, where it's just kind of like, okay, you really got to kind of like really blend it in, really make sure it kind of melts in so easily, it blends out so easily, just because it's not as thick. So that can be a pro or a con for some of you out there, but I definitely really do like it. The coverage of this, I would say for me, definitely feels more like a medium coverage. It doesn't feel or look, when I blend it out, as full coverage as say like the L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer. Definitely not. And maybe a little bit less than like the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer as well. But I would agree that it is blendable. When I kind of just add one layer underneath my eyes, I feel like I can kind of still maybe slightly see my under eyes, you know, kind of my under eye dark circles kind of peeking through just a little bit. It's not as bad as like some other concealers that I've tried. I was like, okay, like honestly, that would be like a nice natural type of application. I would say it doesn't feel super duper heavy, but I was like, let's try going on maybe after we blend it out with another layer just underneath where I have that darkness underneath my eyes. Just added a little bit more, blended it out, doesn't kick up, and I think that does like the perfect job. So I would say this is a nice and medium buildable concealer, depending what problem areas you are trying to conceal. feel. So if you're like me and you have dark under eye circles, it's like maybe one and just a little extra dip after you kind of blend it out on top, I think is perfect. If you don't have under eye circles, however, this might be like the perfect coverage for you, but it doesn't feel, once again, heavy, even with that little bit extra added on top. The difference for the Covergirl Trublend Undercover Concealer that I really see is that it doesn't feel as heavy as those other ones, which honestly doesn't bother me, but sometimes when you're doing like less is more type of a makeup deal, especially now in the summertime, I think I really like this because it doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't have that much coverage because it's hot out. My face is melting. I don't need that extra product melting off of my face. And it feels a little bit more hydrating than those other full matte concealers, which maybe is not as bothersome right now in the summertime. But like in the winter time, I know that can really take a toll for certain people's under eyes who have really, really dry under eyes. I have dry skin in general, but my skin, I can take on a little bit more of a matte finish concealer, but I do love a more hydrating concealer. So I would say the Covergirl is definitely more hydrating than those other like Tarte Shape Tape dupes. It's like the most hydrating dupe that I would say so far. So I was definitely impressed by that. Overall, I feel like I keep using this concealer and picking it up. It's definitely one I would totally add to my makeup rotation because I've tested it out. I feel like concealers, I definitely kind of want to test it out a little bit more, especially if I'm going to wear it like one layer or two just to see the difference. But like I said, the coverage of my eyes for me personally, buildable, just adding a little bit extra, still also does not crease underneath my eyes, which I do tend to have a big problem with that, especially if it's too much product underneath my eyes. It can get a little bit sensitive down there, but it also doesn't crease. So I was just like, wow, Covergirl. I am actually impressed. I didn't expect it. I think maybe with like the way this like doe foot applicator and everything, I was like, ooh, is this going to be a Tarte Shape dupe? I was definitely intrigued, but I feel like I haven't been as impressed with some other products, but this one I was definitely impressed by. I think ever since I tried the CoverGirl Active Outlast Foundation, I was like, okay, we need to try some CoverGirl because that really impressed me. So let's see what they can do with this concealer, and just felt like something a little bit newer, a little bit different, something fresher from like their regular products. So I was like, let's try it out, and I am so glad I tried it out. I kind of want to maybe get like one shade a little bit lighter just to kind of really highlight around my face. This can especially be if I just do one little layer underneath my eyes and just like get that nice little highlight underneath there. But I would totally recommend you checking this out. I think all skin types can check it out. I think it just depends on your preference. If you prefer something more like matte, then maybe something like the L'Oreal Infallible might be your preference. But for those of you who like something a little bit more hydrating, not as heavy, not as full coverage, I think you'll really like this concealer. I really like this concealer, so I'm definitely going to be using it a lot. It's just so quick and easy to blend out, and just honestly, I love it. I didn't think I would say it, but yeah, I love it. Let me know if you guys have picked up this concealer and if you've tried it out and whether you like it or not, or have I convinced you to add it to your wish list. But also, I'm very glad I did a good job with the color, and I was like, should I buy two? Should I buy one? I was like, no, I think this is my color, and I think I did a good job. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and demo of the Covergirl Trublend Undercover Concealer. Let me know what other new drugstore affordable products you want to see. I'm always on the hunt to see what's coming up on Ulta, and following some other pages as well so I can keep up. But don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can keep up with some more videos, and I'll see you guys next time.